square, we were saying knight e2.
Knight e2.
But this is different because now there's no more kind of fun on the f8 square.
This is why I think black should actually take the bishop on e6 rather than the f4.
And, well, all we need is to mix things up, right? So how to do that?
Because it's 2 pawns and it's about to be 3 pawns.
And the knight on b2 is actually really good because the move you want to play is queen d3.
Or you know, get the queen active.
You can always sit back, perch on the c4 square, and a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's a weird position. It feels like white should have compensation, but
There's no
not great.
competition, and the white king is very unsafe.
he's alive at least. That's the main thing for Gukesh. I think being maybe playing the most natural moves here is actually the best way to the advantage. But it is tempting from my experience when your opponent plays a weird move, weird looking move like queen b1, especially if they've been playing some clear mistakes. You want to punish them and you want to be a bit creative and you want to...
Yeah. Also, rook takes pawn
Does require some calculation. If you know, you have to consider knight e2. If for some reason you don't trust your calculations, can you kind of keep control with knight to a4, which is another move you mentioned?
Yeah, it's actually, at first I thought this wasn't possible because rook d1 traps the black queen, but luckily there's knight takes c3 with a fork. And I think once the dust settles at the very end, black still has an extra pawn. And it could be a very powerful pawn, so I think it's possible knight to a4. I put it on my analysis board here and the eval bar dropped, so it's not the best move apparently. It's unclear why. Actually, from a human point of view, I think it's actually very natural. Especially if he's scared of that calculation we were talking about.
Maybe you have some ideas of
Yeah,
f takes.
takes e6, we have to calculate. Let's say I take with the pawn.
I just seem to be helping you all the time.
I mean, now black can actually castle and
Yeah.
activate the rook at the same time. I mean, it's complicated though. This is exactly what's going through the player's minds, 𝒉𝒂𝒂. Like you said, f takes e6 on every move has to be calculated.
Yeah.
It might be different sometimes.
No.
Ooh, and look at this. Ding, it's now been 3 hours and 20 minutes almost of play. Ding hasn't left the board once. Wow.
Yeah. And, well, it seems to be working. Ding.
Definitely working.
Yeah, definitely working. That's what I should say. I should stop being so...
We're very
so British. We're very... This seems to be working. Jolly good. And it's a very... You know, he has a big advantage. And winning advantage.
With best play.
With best play, winning advantage, you know. It is possible for Gukesh to mix things up and create some chaos, but here we're just looking at 2 options here. Rook takes pawn, or trying to keep control with knight to a4.
Yeah, 2 options. What would you say if you were in Ding's shoes right now? The clock is ticking, you've got a time advantage, but you want to keep the momentum, you're getting excited because you know that you have an advantage. Do you take the pawn, do you take a risk, or do you retreat the knight?
Well, you know, the funny thing is, I think our decision-making is often guided by who our opponent is. So if we're playing someone low rated or someone we don't perhaps rank, so or rate their calculation, we'd probably go rook takes pawn without thinking too much and go, yeah, well, I'm sure we'll figure it out. But if it was someone that we considered genius, we'd be like, why have they let us play rook?
Especially a calculation genius like Gukesh.
Yes. Like, what is it they have up their sleeve? And then we might try to keep control with knight to a4.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would be tempted.
I mean, I'm a greedy person, so rook takes c3 is what I really would be aiming for.
We talk about calculation quite a lot, and I genuinely think the most disciplined calculators, like Gukesh, like Prag these days, like Ding in his heyday, I think you start with rook takes c3 because it's a forcing move, it's a capture, you win a pawn, you kind of ask your opponent, you force your opponent to prove their compensation. Only if that isn't convincing, only if you see some ghosts there or you sense some trouble, then you kind of look for moves like knight to a4. And knight a4 isn't without calculation either, because the black queen would be trapped after rook d1, so you have to look 2 or 3 moves deep at least to guarantee that you're safe. And knight a4 is maybe slightly less ambitious. It's the safer move, but rook takes c3 is so natural. If you start with it, don't see anything wrong with it. You have to play it.
He plays rook takes
plays
e3.
Okay, and I think a good choice.
Good choice. Absolutely.
Probably. We'll figure it out with hindsight. But
Yeah, so now we were looking at white's moves. White can play pawn takes e6, rook takes rook. No other attacks or captures the threat.
Yeah, it's got to be one of those, I think. I don't really see anything else. You can't keep the tension now. Rook takes b2 never works. We pointed that out earlier because the black rook defends its queen. And
No, rook takes rook. So let's
takes rook. Queen takes.
and let's try to maintain the tension on the board. Knight back to e2.
Yeah. At least this way, you give up another pawn, but you get the bishop path. Assume you take this now. Take. Yeah, keeping this pawn on f5. I'm not sure if that kind of creates any extra options. I mean, it looks so tempting to move this bishop out of the way, discover the attack against the black queen, but there's nothing else really on dark squares that isn't defended. So there's no real good discoveries. This white queen, she's so poorly placed. If you were anywhere else, this would be a real fight.
Yeah. Well, we would transpose after f takes e6. Black would be more or less obliged to go bishop takes e6. And this is the thing, the threat of after f takes e6, bishop c5 is so obvious.
Yeah.
So
If you leave it to this point, it's obvious. Right?
yeah, exactly.
Bishop c5 there's ideas, maybe not queen takes h7 immediately, because just to show again to anyone just joining, beautiful tactic, aiming to checkmate black, deflect the black rook, but there's this beautiful counter check, queen to d4, dragging the white bishop away and trading the queen. So he actually takes the rooks first. I was going to say there might be options here though, like improving the white queen. Black king is actually stuck in the center forever now, but instead we see queen's off. Oh, sorry, the rook's off first.
Yeah.
So now
Knight to e2.
yeah, I didn't see anything other than taking on knight to e2. White queen is stuck. She needs to be liberated.
And we're on move 26. And just a reminder that the players do not get any increment per move until they pass move 40.
Yeah, and I mean now it's less than 1 minute on average per move for Gukesh. Not the greatest at counting, but I think he has 14 moves to make to the time control. He's got 12 minutes to make them. So he's going to have to speed up. And we should remind everyone as well that actually in classical chess, Gukesh has never defeated Ding. Only in freestyle kind of Fischer random chess, 2 wins to 0 in favor of Ding, including earlier this year with the black pieces.
Exactly.
Like
I mean, this was a point that a lot of people were commenting on, is that Ding has only won 2 classical games this year. And one was against Gukesh in Tata Steel and Max Ramadan in the same tournament.
That win against Gukesh was actually very, very impressive. He had control the whole time. He kind of tortured Gukesh for a long time before wriggling in and ultimately checkmating him pretty much. So it looks like a similar narrative started this game, although it was Gukesh trying to play on the front foot. Now Ding has cashed in on his advantage. He's a pawn up, and f takes e6 has been played. So moment of truth, I genuinely think bishop takes pawn is by far the best move.
It's the least risky,
Least
right?
risky, yeah.
Because f takes e6 only works if you anticipate this beautiful, beautiful kind of queen Ding about to make the move.
He looks impatient to make the move, but I think he's just double checking.
This is good technique there, you know, don't just lash out and make the first move that your hand wants to play.
Yeah.
Let the brain think.
We've all made that mistake, right? Especially in high pressure situations.
There's a tendency of impatience coming out, and then afterwards you go, oh my goodness, why did I not take my time?
Exactly. And it's not exactly as if Ding's out of trouble with the clock situation. 20 minutes to make, 14 moves for him? It's not exactly luxury either, but okay, he does have a bit of a buffer.
It's still very much a dynamic position, you know, even though Gukesh will be down material, Gukesh will have the bishop pair once he retreats the knight. Burn too much time on the clock making this decision as to how he's going to recapture.
And a lot of kind of pre-match predictions, the punters, the journalists, I mean, some of the best players in the world, they did say Ding's best chance is when Gukesh is low on time. But this type of position, it's a bit more random, right? Both players could well just make mistakes as the clocks are ticking down, especially while Ding's king is in the center. If he takes with the bishop and is able to somehow find the time to castle, I don't see him blundering, but...
You know something, I'm seeing Ding rock backwards and forwards. And this is one of the problems when you've gone through this terrible period where you haven't won a game, you've been so close, and it's kind of just been snatched away from you at the last second. Often you get so nervous or so excited that you involuntarily make mistakes. It's like the brain goes into some kind of sabotage mode, and you just, until you get that first win, you can kind of finally relax, and it becomes such a big thing. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, and I can't remember who said it, but they do say that the hardest thing in chess is to win a one game, and to win a winning position, because suddenly you're stuck in your own head, overthinking. You might have too many good moves, and that choice can kind of confuse you.
I do remember that I think in 2015 I was stuck in a rut where I just wasn't winning a game. I was winning everything, but I just couldn't win the games. And I remember saying to the English women's team captain, I said, I'm just stuck in this awful thing where I cannot win, and I get so nervous or so excited I keep making blunders. And he said he completely understood. He said he went through a similar period, and the way that he solved it is by going and playing in the local league match, and he played basically a drunk old man. It took him about 70 moves to beat this man, but when he did,
a win's a win.
It was a win, and he could shake those demons.
Yeah, I've done the same, I must admit. I've been through some dark kind of patches. I think we all have in our careers, and I've done the same. I've gone to kind of tournaments where I know I'm the favourite, and he takes with a pawn. Well, we said this was risky.
It's risky, and it requires accurate calculation.
I think he's seen that trick. I think he's playing for that trick, Jovanka.
I think so too.
See the knight drop back.
Knight drop back, yes.
No choice there. He needed to eliminate that black bishop, which was super strong, controlling everything.
But this is still risky because, okay, we have that trick where black has their antidote. Maybe we should show it one more time. But capturing with the pawn was risky because actually the king is going to be stranded in the middle of the board.
Yeah, as opposed to the other variation where the black bishop would now be sitting on e6, the white rook now suddenly plays a huge role. And even if white were to slowly build up, if a white queen were to ever land on somewhere like f2, there'd be more threats against the black king long term. So it's not even just about the pawn count anymore. But to reinforce that trick, we mentioned queen takes h7, asking black to take me, please. Oh no, my queen. This would be checkmate. Instead, black would have this move, queen to d4. And okay, we're headed in this direction. This is forced if Gukesh, well, he's going to spot queen to d4 just out of necessity. But yeah, this would force a winning endgame for Ding. 2 pawns to the good, and this one weak as well.
Yeah. Is there any other? I don't see anything.
I don't think here there are any options, but in this position, instead of kind of this winning trick that is actually a losing trick, then I think Gukesh, this is the moment to find something else. Activate the queen, maybe?
I like your queen e1.
Yeah, queen e1, though, I was slightly worried about knight to d3, getting rid of the bishop.
Hey ho, yeah.
Hey ho, let's go. This bishop, yeah, this bishop is the key piece now. If this gets traded, then black is just safe, and then we'll checkmate.
Right, but could you still cause mischief, right?
Ooh, okay.
Because all we need is an active queen to terrorize the black king. So queen somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere there. And so I understand that, yes, I could be losing.
All the pawns on the board, but...
All the pawns. I'll take another one.
Yeah, and now...
We'll come back.
Yeah.
You're right, it's not over. I mean, there's still scary ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, we're very much headed.
Okay, and now this is the big moment, and I can see the smile on Ding's face. He's
like,
hoping for
please.
queen takes h7.
Please.
Because then the queens will come off.
Yeah.
You can relax your quite 2 pawns up, right?
2 pawns up there. I mean, some of the variations we're looking at, white is 4 pawns down, but as long as the queen's around, there's a chance, there's hope. Especially if white keeps the dark square bishop, but this king, if it doesn't get checkmated, Ding is simply going to win this game. Yeah, I guess you don't have to give up this cheap pawn, but it does feel too slow to push forward.
Because now you can.
Black can't castle.
No, you
because
can't
of
castle
bishop c5.
bishop c5. Yeah.
This is my only trick with a skewer, but yeah, I don't think it's going to work. I'm just suggesting a silly move. I think g5. Black has so many options. I mean, for example, bishop to b5, driving this rook away. Then castling looks fantastic.
Still bishop c5.
Okay, bishop c5. Not true. At least I'm not blundering anything. My rook's defended. Yeah, knight to d3 is coming now.
Yeah.
Feels like as long as the black king gets to safety, this is over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, again, I see on the live position though, and the eval bar is nearly back to the center, which
Really?
yeah, which is crazy.
Wow.
I think it's a key moment now.
Absolutely. So, why is the computer so optimistic about white's chances? Is it just because of the unsafe king?
Yeah,
What
let's check it out maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see what the computer says, because the clocks are ticking very quickly down to 0. Gukesh now under 9 minutes. Okay, the computer says bishop to c5, by far the best move. The only way to minimize the disadvantage. Black takes the pawn, I think the most natural move, and oh, this is hard. Okay, firstly queen to c2, so slowly trying to get in, which makes some sense. Trying to get in via the f-file. I think the top move, rook to f3, I would never spot that in a million years. But then I realize only after that a3 is hanging.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
And after the knight drops back to defend that pawn, now the white queen swings across and
You're threatening rook f8.
you're in.
Oh.
Hey, this is not over. If Gukesh finds either of those 2 moves, first he needs to find bishop c5, but
And if you get to this position, how on earth do you defend as black? You have to go bishop.
you have to run, Jovanka.
Yeah, exactly.
Run.
Put the running shoes on and
The Teletubbies. Run away. Easy set. Yeah, you are hiding. It's not easy for white to continue attacking. This knight is super strong, but Gukesh, this is going to be a test of his mettle. He doesn't like time trouble. He's not an instinctive kind of blitz player by nature. He likes time to calculate. His eyes are darting around the board, Jovanka. He's trying to calculate desperately, but he's getting nervous. You see him glancing at the clock.
he's just got just under 7 minutes and 26 seconds. Still compensation if he finds the most accurate move, bishop c5.
He has to find it, and he's very aware of the clock. We've seen him look at the clock and score sheets so many times already. He's about to make his move. Still 11 moves for him to make in 7 minutes.
Yeah. And because there is no increment until the players pass move 40, the players are actually not obliged to notate if the clock gets down to less than, I think it's 5 minutes.
Less than 5 minutes, that's right. Normally we have to write down every move because we have that luxury of 30 seconds after every turn, but not this time. Yeah, bishop c5. I think it's just about initiative, and he understands the initiative so well, Gukesh. He knows he needs to attack before the kind of door gets shut, before Ding gets castled.
Right. You know, I do think that bishop c5 is going to be a standard for Gukesh. Now, rook f3, it's playing with the whole board, right? You know, you're using the queen side, which is actually really difficult for most people to actually adjust to, but Gukesh is actually fantastic at this. He loves to play with full board vision. So rook f3, I think he'll find it. Rook f3, queen f1. He's desperate now.
He's desperate. He's under 6 minutes now, and every move does come with a threat. So we're predicting bishop c5. We'll see if Gukesh plays that. Queen takes pawn. Rook f3 is a threat, hitting this pawn. This is tempo play. The knight drops back to defend it. Then a threat of checkmate. Rook f8 coming in. and then you have a real fight on your hands. But it's just about initiative, not caring about pawns. You're already 2 pawns down. Who cares if it's a third, as long as you get some attacking chances. And
you're threatening checkmate in that position. Yeah, so
it's definitely the first move he looked at, bishop c5. It's just whether he trusts himself and whether he sees another alternative. I don't really, but I mean, you could maybe make an argument for queen c2, but
yeah, but then we have the issue again with queen c2, knight.
Doesn't threaten anything though, queen c2.
No, and I guess you're just encouraging black to go knight to c4.
Exactly, re-centralize. Also, you give black options after queen c2. Black can, I don't know, just drop, I don't know, take this pawn or take a pawn, or I don't know. Why give your opponent choice? Why force yourself to calculate more than you need to? Forcing moves.
Well, I like bishop c5 because you never know. Ding might not play queen takes pawn. He might.
Maybe we're biased because now I've seen the computer move. I can't get bishop c5 out of my head, but I do think it's the most natural.
Yes, because you're material down anyway. You're going to lose, so why not try to just climb up on the window ledge? Oh no, he plays queen c2.
Plays queen c2. Okay. Keeping his options open, but giving Ding a lot of choice.
Tempting. It's tempting. Also, you know, Gukesh likes to play with an active king. Castles, as we mentioned, isn't possible because of bishop to c5. And now bishop b5, which was a really tempting move that we suggested in other lines, isn't possible because of queen to c8 check. But it does mean that Ding's most natural move, knight c4, blocking the line of the queen, is very natural.
It is very natural, but actually I don't know if knight c4 is so strong. I'm trying to look ahead here. So knight c4, let's follow the same plan as earlier. Bishop c5 now, queen takes pawn, and let's say the white queen swings across, threatening to get in, threatening some checkmates. Queen f8 now is the big threat with mate in 2.
Have to run.
Have to run, and now the difference is the queen and rook are actually kind of the opposite way around. So now there's bishop b6 check. I think this is Gukesh's plan, and the queen is defending its bishop. Her bishop here. And yeah, be careful. Like suddenly the white queen is coming in. Check and.
Okay, so I spoke too soon.
I mean,
knight c4, not so good.
C4. But Ding's going to look at it. It's the most natural move, just trying to block out the queen from coming in. But the queen isn't coming in anytime soon. All the squares are covered. So if Ding calculates knight c4 and senses danger in the future there, maybe he's going to look for alternatives. And there must be a reason the evaluation bar on the live position has jumped so much.
Right, maybe, okay, so let's be methodical here. So we have queen takes g4, queen takes b4, queen c4. Now the moves that I always recommend when your king is in trouble is trade of queens.
Ivanka, I think that's a very strong move because actually, yeah, white can't trade queens, white's 2 pawns down. Now you castle. You get castle next move, guaranteed.
Yes.
Because there's no more discovered attack. Like if the white queen dodges, then no more bishop c5. I mean, once you're castle, this is safe. Queen c4. I'm not sure if that's the only move, but
so
I love it. Just shut the door and get out of the firing line of white's rook.
And would it be such a serious mistake after queen takes g4?
Okay, queen takes g4.
Let's go greedy. I mean, queen c4 is the move in my opinion, but
just a bit scared of the white's queen coming in.
Yeah, me too. I'm just suggesting this to show why.
Yeah,
it's scary, isn't it?
It's scary. I don't think Ding is going to go for this one. There's a check threat now.
Yeah.
The white bishop's still coming in to close the mating net.
Yep, no, you don't want to be touching this one. I agree.
Funnily, I just checked. The computer says black's winning here.
No way.
Only one move, otherwise you're losing on the spot. But you have to castle. You have to castle, give up your bishop, and then you bring your knight around, and you're going to checkmate white. This is... I mean, if Ding plays this, I'm going to find some gold coins and shower the board later with them. Because you can't stop it, Ivanka. Crazy. Like bishop e3 looks like you cover the f4 square, but suddenly, whoops. Check. King takes, checkmate.
Wow. That's genius.
That would be genius, but I mean, Ding is a genius, but just so difficult. And firstly, you would need to kind of have the courage to get greedy and grab a pawn on g4, which
And allow the queen all the way into c7, which, you know,
feels wrong.
it feels wrong on every single level.
But your queen c4, just from a human point of view, he's been trying to trade queens already for a few moves. That just looks so smooth, and then you get castled.
Is there any queen c4? I mean, how to cause trouble?
I mean, do you cause trouble? That's the question.
If I have to have a whisker of some chaos on the position, otherwise white is completely lost.
Yeah.
So queen.
There's not many squares. That's the problem. Like, if you trade, what black just takes with the knight. And
Exactly, and it's
gonna be grim.
Okay, so queen d2, only
d2.
move.
Yeah. I'll castle.
And now, okay, bishop d4.
Yeah.
Square.
Dark squares and yeah, actually.
Bishop takes. Bishop
Yeah.
takes rook.
Actually, suddenly I'm a bit worried. A bit worried I'm going to get mated.
Yes.
Maybe I need to. Oh wait, I was going to say I can bail out with perpetual check, but I don't. I think because
Oh,
whoops,
the
and
king hides on
no more
h2.
checks and suddenly white wins. Okay, it's not over. It's not over, definitely. Easy to plunder actually. The fact that Ding has almost 12 minutes is a godsend for him. He has time to calculate. Gukesh, 4 minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes is not that much time for
And moves.
10 moves to make. Yeah.
2.5 moves per minute. That'd be a tough one. Okay, what are you predicting? Is Ding going to get greedy, which keeps the advantage? We figured out, but by a very convoluted, very difficult way. Or is Ding going to try and shut the door and get castled, which
think-
isn't over either?
Yeah, I think queen c4 is the most human move. Even though the adventures still continue.
I'm getting nervous. If I can.
I am
Probably
as
I'll
well.
start to
I started to get goose pimples as well, because this is, you know, despite the deficit in material, this is still a full-blooded fight on the board. It's just amazing. Anything can still happen. All three results possible. And he moves the queen,
He swings his queen across to c4.
c4. And now here for Gukesh, we only saw one move. I mean, you cannot go queen takes queen, because then you're more or less signing the score sheets and saying, I abandon hope.
If you lose, you've got to lose in style. You've got to go down fighting and keep the queens on. We actually found one variation where white has a lot of hope. I loved your bishop d4, kind of control the dark squares, at least getting some counterplay, some threats going. So Gukesh needs to move under 4 minutes now.
Yeah.
Needs to keep the queens on. I don't really see what there is to think about. There's only 2 safe squares. You don't go back to b1 willingly, because that's where you came from.
Yeah.
Queen d2. Is he really thinking of trading queens?
No.
Surely not.
He's playing queen d2.
Okay. Shows he's not confident though. Like I think that's the type of move he would play instantly, even if he had an hour on his clock. The fact he's playing game 1, first ever World Championship match. Okay, white is threatening bishop to d4, going for this pawn, going for the dark squares.
Yep.
We should have mentioned as well, like flicking in queen c4 doesn't hurt black at all, because now you can take the pawn and there's no white queen coming in along the c file. So even taking this pawn might work, but castling just feels so natural.
Yeah, it does feel very, very natural. I'm just, again, thinking that psychologically, Ding just wants to put everything in the bank, remove all the complications from the position. So can he be persistent and go queen to d3, for instance?
Oh, wow. Queen to 3.
And
I'm a bit afraid of the white queen coming in somewhere at f4 or g5.
probably f4. But then castle, no, no castling.
Yeah, no castling anymore. Suddenly it's a bit of danger.
Forgot the chess rules for a
I
moment.
mean, yeah, let's pretend that. Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah.
Time to time. I've regularly tried to castle after moving my king. So
Yeah, and there, we did actually see earlier Gukesh turn to the arbiter, and yeah, we did see that he actually asked the arbiter if he has to write down the moves. And as we know, when you clock ticks down to under 5 minutes, when there is no increment per move, you are allowed to stop notating.
yeah, So at least he doesn't have to worry about that one thing, but it's kind of muscle memory, second nature to write down moves.
Yeah.
And okay, Ding's under, what is it, under 9 minutes now. Nerves kicking in. Wow, 𝒂𝒂𝒓, this is so tense. Ding does have a winning advantage though. He does have 2 extra pawns. It's just whether he can kind of stabilize, consolidate before move 40. If he gets to move 40, still with 2 extra pawns, still with a winning advantage, it's over. So Gukesh just needs to trick him in the next 9 moves.
Yeah, you can see Ding twitching.
Yeah, he's calculating though, his eyes are darting around the board.
Yeah.
The problem is Black has so many tempting moves. You can take pawns, you can castle. You don't want choice actually in these types of positions. You want just kind of only moves. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
What are your predictions? Is Gukesh going to find any counterplay at all? Is there hope still?
I think there's still hope.
I think Ding has seen that variation that you mentioned with the bishop coming to d4, and he's slightly afraid.
So maybe we can just quickly on the analysis board, just revisit that.
Yeah, because
Castles.
castling, if White doesn't play the move bishop to d4, then Black's just going to consolidate. And I actually think trading the rooks is wrong, because that gives White a valuable tempo to hit the Black queen.
But you can't actually make moves like queen to d3, because then you've got rook takes rook, followed by the queen sneaking in on f4.
There'll be a check, the queen comes in. Let's just quickly show that. This would be catastrophic for Black, at least in terms of winning chances, because the Black king is no longer safe. But I do wonder, this move knight to d3, and 𝒂𝒂𝒓, there's 2 purposes. Firstly, attacking the bishop. Secondly, you're covering these squares. The white queen, she cannot check you. So after a trade of rooks, maybe it's safe enough. You're also trying to trade queens here. He's castled his king. Let's go back to the game. Bishop d4 instantly from Gukesh.
Yeah, he has to play very quickly now. It's a good idea actually, when you're certain of the best way forward, just to play those moves quickly and just keep on piling the pressure.
Yeah, and Ding here, I think it's a key moment. If he trades rooks, then there's actually danger for him. He might suddenly face a big attack. He drops his knight back to d3 instead. I think that might be the
Brilliant move. Brilliant move there from Ding. And again, just showing how cool-headed he is in such a tense position. What
do you even try here?
Okay, so you have to obviously keep the connection between the queen and the bishop, so you can make moves like queen to e3.
To e3. Yeah, I think that would be my my move if I were playing a blitz game. Just get the moves on the board. Keep going. I mean, it is essentially a blitz game now for Gukesh for the next 8 moves.
Yeah. Maybe we can see.
Queen to e3.
Yeah, queen to e3.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what the exact threat is for White, but I don't know why I've got itchy fingers. I really want to play e5.
Yeah, I also want to clarify the position as well.
Yeah, and
but I wasn't sure because there's rook takes rook.
Yeah, maybe we can flick in rook takes rook. It looks like I'm walking into a pin, but now e5, and the whole idea was to get this pawn with a check. Still complicated though. Bishop takes. I mean, it's still not even game over here. You drop back with the bishop.
Yeah, and still continues. Both kings in danger. Maybe we can.
Needs to move Gukesh.
Right, because the clock is ticking down to 2 minutes, so maybe we can get a full camera view of Gukesh.
8 moves to make the time control. 8 moves in 2 minutes. That's physically already difficult. It's 1 move every 10-15 seconds at this point.
Yep, you have to have good instincts at this point.
Got to move. Queen e3 is better than trading rooks and allowing the queens to come off. Well, keep some hope alive.
Well, this match is already delivering and it's just game 1.
I thought it would be a quick draw, 𝒂𝒂𝒓.
Oh no, nothing of the sort. And now ticking under the minute and 20 seconds.
Oh, he's going to have to make 8 moves in 1 minute. how are you going to make 8 good moves, especially in a difficult position like this? He's frozen.
It's getting tense. Wow.
I think he's going to trade rooks, I have a feeling.
Trading rooks is okay.
I'm not sure it is, because once the rooks come off, the black queen is threatening to come to c1 as well, with the check getting the queens off the board. If the queens come off, it's just over.
Yeah.
Especially because this pawn on a2 might just drop.
Okay, no, he plays queen e3.
Good move.
Good move.
45 seconds to make 7 moves, 𝒖𝒂𝒂𝒓. I'm going to do some maths. 6 seconds a move. Good luck.
Yeah. And queen e3 on the board. Okay, so white's threat is maybe to play rook takes rook. Maybe the queen can slide over to f3, try to infiltrate. But for the time being, white can very much react to whatever black does. Now he's going to have to be pitch perfect, Gukesh, if he wants to keep the game alive.
Yeah. Okay, I think Ding's going to invest quite a significant portion of his remaining time trying to find a forced win now. Or at least guarantee that he can go into an endgame 2 pawns up.
Yeah.
The one thing maybe to avoid is some kind of opposite color bishop endgame with 2 extra pawns, because white might be able to build a fortress, but it feels like most endgames are going to be winning. Not getting those queens off.
And somehow clarifying all the activity that white has, and there we see bird's eye view of the game.
Oof. Okay, Ding at over 5 minutes. How much longer is he going to think? He has several tempting moves, that's the issue. I'm not sure how many kind of natural moves there are. There's a lot of tempting ones, but in terms of reducing the risk, it's all about that e5 move, like you said, simplifying. That's the name of the game, trying to transform this 2-pawn material advantage into something easier, something more manageable.
And I mean, these guys are exceptionally good at blitz, but it's also in these type of situations just kind of keeping control over that rush of the blood to the head, because often when you don't have so much time, you see your opponent has even less time, you get very excited and you start to just impetuously play those moves without just thinking what is the best for me here. And also maybe Ding is looking at just making moves that will just keep the tension in the position, and he's hoping to take all the big decisions later on once they've passed move 40. But
that's the
does
dream,
he have that luxury? I don't think he does.
No, I think it's actually still that type of position where one slip and he could lose his winning advantage. He's getting nervous. Like you say, 𝒖𝒂𝒂𝒓, you would love to get to move 40 and just be able to pause, think, kind of really crunch the numbers and figure out a concrete path to victory. But here you just have to go for it. You have to forget about the clock, forget about Gukesh's clock. Don't play on his pace, like you said. 40 seconds each, that's just going to be random. That's going to be a scramble. Pieces will fly. It's a lottery. But if he maintains 3 minutes on the clock, he has some control over his own fate.
And, well, Ding has to calculate e5. And we've come to the conclusion that black should probably play rook takes rook first, then throw in e5 in order to attack this bishop. And yep, he's going for it.
Now
and then e5.
He has to play it. Finds the best moves, Ding. Now he can unpin himself. The black knight is pinned currently, but a pawn is available with check. White blocks. Okay, he blocks with this bishop. Gukesh, I'm slightly surprised by that one. I've got to admit. I thought he would block with the 𝒖𝒂𝒂𝒓 bishop. We actually looked at that and we thought maybe there was some chance alive, but...
Yeah, because maybe you could dream about getting into an opposite color bishop endgame.
Yeah, no longer possible. Okay, Ding under 3 minutes, still with 2 extra pawns, but now he has this isolated pawn, a target on d5. Oh, that's such a strong move. He's moving in for the kill now.
Bishop e4.
Yeah, he's coming in. The white light squared bishop is the target. It's pinned. Gukesh at 30 seconds to make 4 moves.
Yeah, so maybe he can just retreat his bishop to g3, just break the connection. Okay, he does that.
But as soon as black shuts the e-file now, shuts that door, shuts down the white queen, shuts down the light square bishop, it's hard to imagine any counterplay.
Big threat though on the board for Gukesh. Queen to e8, check, mates. That's why it's blocked.
Ooh, don't take the white bishop.
No.
Do not take bishops. That would end in checkmate. The white queen coming up to the top of the board. Just
Okay.
h5, just create your luft, create some space for the king.
And he does that.
Mm-hmm.
h6.
h6, very good move. Gukesh is alive, but now it's that type of position, Jdvanka, where he needs to checkmate before move 40, otherwise it's over.
Mm-hmm.
He's got under 10 seconds
He's got,
now.
wow.
2
And
moves
it's
to make. Keeps the bishops on, attacks the black queen, but Ding's going to threaten checkmate now. The black queen is coming in. Over. 4 seconds for Gukesh to make his last move. He
Ooh.
moves his bishop just in time. He made that move with 1 second left.
wow.
Ding's got 2 minutes now to reply. Wow.
And Ding can breathe a sigh of relief here. You know, both players made the time control for Ding. As long as he doesn't freeze, he can throw in a check. That's fine. But ultimately, he's consolidated his position.
His king is safe.
His
That's the
king
most
is
important
safe,
thing for Ding. He's out of danger here. And, we see the eval bar on the right of our screens there, just to the side of the live board. It's all in black's favour.
Right. Can Ding just play to trade off queens now and cash in his 2-point advantage?
Probably. Probably there's ways to take the queens off. Maybe you can even go for checkmate, reroute the black knight somehow towards the white king. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of paths to victory. He's got 1 minute. Then we're going to break down what we've just seen.
Ooh, this game has had us on tenterhooks from start to this current position.
Yeah.
Ding, now under the minute, but yeah, he throws in a check.
Just to be safe, Gukesh makes a final move there. Before, I'm assuming he takes a break and goes to the bathroom or goes to freshen up. Often we see players make another move just to guarantee that they haven't written down the moves wrong, or Gukesh actually hasn't been writing the moves down, so maybe he isn't aware that they've reached move 40. Although the clock's now probably a bit of a giveaway.
Yes. Also, you can look at your opponent
Yeah.
and have a peek at their score sheet, and there you can see the arbiters showing the players the moves that have been played.
Yeah, so no big drama here. The players just catching up on the score sheet before the clocks restart. We see our arbiters there doing a good job, but then it's all about Ding, Jdvanka. He'll have 30 extra minutes now to convert his advantage. It is a totally winning advantage because white has simply no attack. He's going to be 3 pawns up. And how long do you think this game is going to continue?
Well, it's the first match, right? So the first game in the match, and I feel like you should at least play it out. Because yes, you know, white is losing, but, you know, it's not over until it's over. and there's still some hopes, you know. You can imagine a situation where the queen is in the center somehow. I mean, I'm grasping at straws here, but Ding will still have to win it with those extra pawns. And he can't push those pawns so easily.
Although this one is...
that one's falling.
Easy
I
pawn
mean,
to grab.
actually, can you grab that pawn right now?
I don't see why not. This is the current position. Black's piece is so dominant, we've got to say.
Actually, let's do it right now. So queen takes.
Yeah. I mean, this is such a safe haven for the black king on h7, protected by its bishop on this diagonal, that I think he can happily grab. And if we try and get the white queen in, it's hard to imagine her doing too much damage, but I mean, where's she even going? This is just one check. Black king will hide, and actually it's the white king that's about to be checkmated in the next few moves.
Yeah, and you cannot grab the pawn on a3 because the white king is missing cover.
Yeah. Here, for example, I haven't spotted the mate yet. I'm just assuming it will be there, but yeah, mate in 2. Oof. We talked about the alpha 0 pawn, the AI. We had help from our sidekick Gemini earlier, but I mean, it's going to be that alpha 0 pawn, the a3 pawn, that maybe shortens the resistance for Gukesh right now. Ding takes it. But this is very professional. He's just calming his nerves first, almost.
Yeah.
Wow, what a start to the match in general, but especially for Ding.
Totally, to win with the black pieces and, you know, deploying an opening that he hasn't tried that often in recent years, and it just worked a treat. It was provocative. Gukesh overextended, made just one key inaccuracy. I mean, the position was so finely tuned that he just played rook to c1 and got into all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, he just kind of went on the attack at the wrong moment, unfortunately, for Gukesh. And there we go, another pawn drops off. It's 3 pawns to the good now for Ding. I would be shocked, actually, Jovanka, if this game continues another 15 minutes. I just don't see any resistance at all. Gukesh, he's going to come to terms with things. I think it's a pride issue for chess players. We don't want to resign, especially at this kind of level. And the only way this game continues is if he prolongs the fight by, I don't know, giving a couple of spite checks. And
yeah. It's the knight on d3.
an octopus.
It's a beast, because the move as white you want to play is you want to go queen c5 with a dream of planting the queen on c8 and getting some kind of perpetual, because that is the key square. But there's just
the knight controls.
Exactly. It controls c1, no access there, everything denied.
All these squares the white queen would love to use, actually. Controls a few extra ones just as a bonus, but this knight is just, it's been the star piece, simply. This whole game, it's been hopping around.
On that basis, could you just go bishop to f1 and go,
okay,
be gone?
Be gone.
Although, yes, you could go queen to b3.
Queen to b3 or somewhere, yeah. I can ask what your threat is, actually. If you take, I'm wondering if I can check, or maybe there's no checkmate, but at the very least I'm going to check and trade off some stuff. Opposite colour bishop endgames sometimes are drawn, but
not this one.
Probably not this one. This is one pawn that's going to keep the white bishop paralysed. There's another pawn over here, another pawn over here. This is going to be over.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of last case, last resort for Ding as well. That's if he doesn't find a checkmate.
Yeah.
Wow. I think we'll break down some of those key moments in the build-up to the time scramble a bit later, but expecting handshake potentially even, Jovanka.
I agree. Once Gukesh comes to terms with the idea that his position is lost, then I do think a handshake is in order, because the problem is, how are you going to stop the a pawn? And that's also one of many troubles.
Yeah.
The white king is unfortunately placed. The bishops are just not very well positioned, and finally we see Ding leave the board for the first time.
Historic moment, Jovanka. First time in the 2024 World Championship that the current world champion leaves the board. And I was going to say the reason I expect resignation is because Ding's sitting there. Normally, you always see players leave the board after move 40. They get extra time, they want to freshen up, go to the bathroom. But look at that, 100% of the time, 4 hours plus at the board. I took a long flight recently and I was like back to the bathroom like constantly. But I'm actually sitting there 4 hours, and Gukesh, you got to feel for him. He went for it, and credit to him. Very aggressive player, but ultimately backfired.
Yeah. Okay. But what an exceptional young man he is. Winning the candidates. And you know, after his loss to Alireza Firouzja at the candidates, that was the moment that he knew that he could win it.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that was a huge game. He was totally winning. He was about to take the lead. Yeah, suddenly he fell apart and motivated him.
Yes.
But, I mean, that's the candidates. That's one of the biggest tournaments in the world. This is a whole new level of scrutiny.
Totally. I mean, all eyes of the world are on this match right now. That we're feeling for Gukesh, because he went all guns blazing right from the opening. You know, he rose to the challenge, and it just didn't work out for him. Yeah,
not quite at his best yet, but we expect that he will come back swinging, come back fighting, because he's got that mentality. We talk about his maturity as a teenager. It's just phenomenal. He just, I mean, I remember as well at the 2022 Olympiad when he lost that heartbreaking game against ابراهيم, and he still came back after that. He was determined more than ever to win the Olympiad for his country 2 years later. And it feels like he really thrives when the adversity shows itself.
He's incredibly mature. You know, he really rises up to those big match moments as well. You know, he does deliver. He's finding himself here playing a World Championship match at the tender age of just 18. So I'm sure this is just a blip, you know, just perhaps the nerves getting to him in this particular game. But what a start already to what is going to be such a memorable World Championship match.
This is if this is a glimpse into what we're about to see, then we're really in for a treat. And I hope everyone's had their popcorn already at home, but if not, then save some for the next few rounds.
And take a look at this, David. Like, have a look at the computer evaluation. Oof. It is mate in 40.
Mate in 40.
And forced mate in 40 for black.
I mean, Gukesh has seen it all. He's worked it out already. Ding spotted that. That's why he took the break to the bathroom. Yeah, this is over in multiple ways. He does make another move, so he's going to fight on a little bit. He gives a check. Yeah, the black king, though, simply... Wait, Ivanka, I missed something.
Oh, because if you hide king h7, queen takes bishop.
Is check, and there's a pin.
It is a pin, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I'm embarrassed about my lack of tactical vision there, but...
Yeah, so you have to put the king on h8.
One winning move, one takes square.
Yeah, and you cannot go queen takes bishop and go ha-ha, because queen to f2, and then you can recapture the queen in peace.
Yeah, that's why it's these players sitting there at the board fighting for the World Championship. They see these details. I'm sure Ding's going to just speedily play the move king to h8 right now. Let's show that on the board. This check hits the king. He's going to slide into the corner. He finds the winning move. This might force the resignation. If he'd gone the other way, then queen takes bishop comes with check. That's the key. We see a handshake. We'll break down those key final moments a bit later. Ding takes the win, though. The first game of the World Championship goes in Ding Liren.